Hi all, Bhaskar Goswami here, and I'm so delighted to share a beautiful idea with such tremendous implications. It's a perfect storm that has a potential for a profound paradigm shift. It's Eastern, it's Western, it's ancient, it's modern, it's pragmatic, it's profound. So I invite you to buckle in and enjoy the ride. The story begins with myself as a young boy growing up in Assam, a tea state in the northeast of India. My father was an engineer, my mother a school teacher. And from the earliest childhood, there was an unspoken agreement that my sister and I had with my parents, as did all our friends. And the agreement is, we make our parents look good in society, and our parents take care of us and provide for us. So it's like a give and take. And this give and take mindset actually permeated through the entire culture because there's no other reference point. It was sort of a truth accepted by all. So in a way, my parents worked diligently and dutifully, and they gave that, and they received a salary. And with that salary, they gave the salary and purchased goods and services. And I myself gave my attention and my diligence to study, and I got a good degree in electronic engineering. And then later on it was my turn to give my skills and experiences and receive a paycheck and so on. So this give and take mindset was very embedded. Now something very strange happened along the way, because there was another parallel story to this. And this is my love story with yoga. So going back to one of my earliest childhood memories, I remember being one in over 1,000 little kids, all wearing white t-shirts and shorts, all very neatly arranged in this massive field, with this instructor with a megaphone in the front shouting, inhale, hands up and back, exhale, forward and down. And I was somewhere far at the back, and I remember just loving it. And when I came home, I used to take a glimpse of my father practicing yoga. And when he was in the headstand, I used to rush to push him over. And now my children do that to me, so I guess that's how karma works. Now, I feel that in my life, if I was to meet one yoga teacher amongst 1,000 yoga instructors, I'd be very lucky. And amongst those 1,000 yoga teachers, if I happen to meet one actual yoga master, then I'd be extremely lucky. So this perfect storm started to brew when I actually studied under two yoga masters, Yogacharya Tyagaraja Nandakumaran and Siramani Sriram. Very extraordinary names, and they were both extraordinary people. And what really compelled and intrigued my engineering brain was just how scientific, irrational and profound yoga practice turned out to be. So in the early 2000s, I immigrated to Montreal, Canada. I was an engineer by day, and I was just an inhaler of all things yoga in my spare time. As the quote from Rumi goes, we have been walking on the water's edge, holding up our robes. We should dive down deep and deeper still. So a small group of us dove very, very deep into yoga practice. And very soon I became a yoga teacher. And to me, it felt like I was a fish in water. I believe Einstein, or someone pretending to be Einstein, is known to have said that we're all born genius, yet if you ask a fish to climb a tree, it'll spend its whole life feeling foolish. So in that sense, I was the fish that found my water. It was just a natural talent and knack in teaching that I can't take no credit for. It was like the color of my eyes. It was just given to me, and I love to teach. And that's when the whole give and take model just collapsed. So there I was as a yoga teacher teaching these classes, at a conventional level giving a class to receive a remuneration. But it did not feel like I was giving anything at all. Just to be there and witness these sincere students practicing and going through this profound transformation felt like such a privilege. To be able to share my knack and talents in a way that could benefit people so meaningfully. Again, I was so grateful for that. And I used to come out of these classes feeling like I took a yoga class. And then in the end of that, to receive their appreciation and their financial payments, like, wow, because the whole process I was receiving the whole time. How can you be receiving the whole time and it still works? How is that happening? I couldn't believe it. And I remember saying to myself, what an agreeable way to make a living. Hashtag life hack. So some other peculiar things started to happen. Something else that happened is that it felt very strange to have this arbitrary price tag assigned to a practice that I felt was so fundamental to our human condition, like a basic birthright, just like breathing and as common sense as brushing our teeth. And yet there I was, in my over 20 years or so of teaching yoga and meditation, I have received everything from $0 to over $6,000 for teaching the exact same practice. It seemed very strange. And then suddenly it hit me, and my big breakthrough happened when I heard S.N. Goenka describing the principle of daana in my very first Vipassana meditation training. Then I said, yes, of course, generosity. Generosity has been the foundation of how these ancient wellness practices has been preserved in such a pure and profound way through centuries. And in just the last 20 years or so, give or take a few decades, yoga has gone from being relatively obscured in North America to being an over $20 billion industry. I often make the joke, just generally speaking, that the East is very, very good at giving people the present moment, and the West is really good at knowing what to do with it. So we have things like salsa yoga, aqua yoga, dog yoga, beer yoga, goat yoga. I mean, it's all very creative. In India, for centuries, it's just been yoga. Yet in that creativity, we might have left something very, very important behind. It's like getting really enthusiastic about a really valuable tree and then transporting it and transplanting it, yet leaving something very important behind, the roots. And the roots of generosity sort of got left behind in the yoga practice. So when yoga came to the Western world, it took on the mechanics of the fitness industry. So, you had the memberships and the drop-in rates and the occasional discounts. Yet yoga was never taught this way. Since ancient times, people contributed spontaneously what they could. Perhaps princes would give jewelry, business people would give money, farmers would give the food or crop growing at the time. If people had little means, they would clean the house or prepare the food for their teacher. And it was all done in a spirit so that the teaching can continue and be of benefit to the next students as well. And that's the spirit of generosity. So something happened to that as well along the way, the whole generous spirit. And it's not just yoga. This generosity is the very first teaching of Gautama the Buddha. The very first teaching is daana. And virtually all the cultures were built on the foundation of generosity. Every temple, synagogue, church, mosque, gurudwar, monastery, and so on, they were all built on a foundation of generous contribution. Yet something mechanical happened with this, and we lost the feeling of generosity, and maybe even it got sort of diluted by self-interest and vulgarized in a way. So, knowing all of this, fast forward to 2015, my girlfriend Carolyn and I decided to do a social experiment. We put together a 3-minute video and did a crowdfunding campaign, and it happened to raise $17,000 Canadian. And that helped us build the website and the app for a very simple concept. And the concept is, hosts offer us their space, any kind of space, living rooms, offices, cultural centers, and the teachers offer to teach their craft and share their gift in that space. General people can find these classes on the website and the app, and they participate, and after that they're invited to make anonymous contribution to keep the classes going. Very simple. So in a little over 2.5 years or so, daana has been very fortunate to be a source of wellness to over 5,000 people. There's been all kinds of crazy cool activities I could have never imagined. There's salsa, there's Pilates and groove dancing and yoga, meditation, nature walks, hikes, cancer wellness workshops, nutrition workshops, over 20 retreats that anybody could come to. It's just been an incredible experience. And in that, we've learned a lot among the way. And here is a little video of the daana community speaking about their daana experience.
I was looking for a class because I wanted to be fit.
I mean, yoga.
Hiking, I love hiking. Dancing is my way to get fit.
Not just physically, but mentally too.
It's like that perfect moment to look forward to every day. That's me time.
Oh my god, I love me time.
I crave me time.
Anyway, I signed up. I went.
Running class was just awesome. Meditation.
I was okay at it before, but now.
I can actually nail that kata.
I can have some quiet.
I feel the adrenaline rushing.
It's a constant discovery.
The people are great.
Sometimes they bring cookies.
Show tips, stories. We all help each other.
It's like, wait,
This isn't just a yoga class.
This feels like a community.
The payment.
Weird.
But also fun.
It's like a puzzle.
At first, I was trying to figure out,
How much should I give?
So, after the class, you get an email.
it invites you to go online and contribute.
Anonymously.
So, like, you give what you can?
You get what feels good. That's all.
Wait, is this a scam? How can it work if...
Anyone can give anything?
If everyone gave nothing,
Then it couldn't work.
But people give because
I support what I love.
I support what's making me happy. I learned so much through Dana.
Yoga, Tai Chi, meditation, dance. These are all expressions of who we are.
Dana helps to cultivate the values, mindsets, and attitudes that I want to have.
Patience.
Kindness.
Confidence.
I know each time I go, I get to live a unique,
Uplifting experience.
because each person in that room is doing and being their absolute best.
Dana brings out the hero in us.
Everything we do and everything we give,
we do it joyfully, spontaneously.
compassionately.
If you're doing it with the right spirit.
Then you know you're doing it right.
Dana is a practice ground for generosity.
And that's the journey of a lifetime.
And that's Dana.
That's Dana.
That's Dana.
That's Dana.
That's Dana.
That's Dana.
That's Dana. That's Dana.
It has been a tremendous privilege to have a front row seat in watching how Dana is creating meaningful community, making uplifting activities accessible to all, and perhaps most importantly, stewarding a safe space where people can learn how to be more generous. Literally coming together and asking the question most sincerely, how can every touch point of this human experience be more generous? So here are a few things we've learned along the way. Firstly, in the giving field of generosity, everybody is receiving. It's the strangest thing. It's like reverse economics, where normal economics, when you give something, you're lacking something, but here, every touch point is thriving and receiving. For example, we start every Dana activity with a generosity story when somebody is invited to share a generosity experience. Now we know that the person receiving a generosity felt good, the person giving a generous act felt good, the person telling the story felt good, and also we hearing the story feel good. So it's like all receiving and thriving together. And something else is that it brings out what is fundamentally true in our human nature, is that we are generous. And in fact, nature is generous. What's the point of having so many flowers? A rose would have been enough. Yet there's such an abundance of varieties and colors and shapes of flowers, and not just flowers, also insects and birds and animals and plants and fish and so on. And we look up at the sky, just one star would have been enough, but we have so many countless stars and countless galaxies, such profound abundance and generosity. And we are made of nature. The same principles operate in this human system. So this becomes clearer, and the realization also that generosity is really more for noticing, in that it is really there all the time. And as we start to notice generosity, we sort of tune into the vibes of generosity, and it kind of becomes almost contagious. You just start to notice it everywhere. And to the point where you start attracting other people who are also in that vibe, and you hang out with the coolest, most awesome people. Of course, the hosts, the teachers and students are so amazing to trust this process and come in and join. And then you have all the friends and well-wishers and communities that say, I love what you guys are doing, this is the world I want to live in. And they come in with their gifts and share their talents in their own way. We've met the most incredible people who have flown us to Morocco to run the climate change conference, the wellness portion. Then we were in Hong Kong to showcase Daana at the world's biggest startup festival. Then we won the CBC Media Prize here in Canada, again through invitation. Incredible groups like Design Thinking have come on board to help us really create the structure. Amazing people like Michelle Holiday have helped co-steward Daana, and the list goes on and on and on. It brings out the best in people. Something else is that generosity seems to be the cause of a very good feeling, which is gratefulness. So every time we feel grateful, the cause is usually some act of generosity. And when we start noticing generosity, we end up feeling more grateful. And if you look at life as just a series of experiences, then gratefulness is a wonderful experience to be carrying with us. Also, of course, it's very healthy. The law of nature is such that whenever we entertain unwholesome thoughts and ideas like fear, greed, scarcity, so on, it feels terrible. And when we entertain wholesome intentions and ideas like generosity, it feels wonderful. It's like being rewarded by the laws of nature. So it's a really wonderful way to be living. Something else is that in this world of generosity, everything is possible. We're only limited by our imagination. So many clever, cool ideas have come and so many are on their way. Virtually every good or service around the world can be influenced positively with the intention of generosity. And it's already happening in so many places like generosity-based restaurants and hotels and food delivery and so on. The other thing to bring up is that generosity has now gone beyond being something nice. It's become an urgent necessity of our times. We are so aware of so much crisis and calamity around the world. We do know that there's climate change, which is just one of them, but there's many other things that are just hanging with the finest of balance. It's a crisis mode, really, globally. Now, I really enjoy the Chinese word for crisis. So I believe it is Wuji, made up of two parts. The first part indicates danger, be careful. And the second part indicates good fortune, opportunity. It's very important to be aware of the danger. Yet there's also the old adage, where attention goes, energy flows. So where should we give our attention? Let's give our attention to the opportunity here. There's tremendous opportunity for us to collaborate and co-create and literally create heaven on earth through this fundamental principle of generosity. And the good news is, it's already happening. And if this talk has inspired you or sparked your curiosity in the slightest of ways, you're already a part of it. Welcome to the age of generosity. Thank you.